Welcome. Today I'm coming to you live from Palm Springs, and I have a very special guest with me. This is my mom, Jackie Shively. So let's welcome Jackie to our station today. And I'm just going to do an interview with my mom because she and my dad had a very successful, very long marriage. And so I'm going to interview her today and find out her secrets for success and her recipe for a long-lasting, healthy, happy marriage. My dad unfortunately passed 3 years ago. 3 years, right? So
1/1/21.
right. So Jackie's now a widow, unfortunately, but she's doing very well, and she comes to Palm Springs for the winter. So I'm here visiting in this beautiful setting. And so, Mom, what would you say is the secret, if there is one secret to a long-lasting, happy, healthy marriage?
Put the other person 90% in charge or important or whatever. Put the other person first. If you both do almost 90%, you're bound to hit a good 50%.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how would you say you resolved most conflicts? I assume you had some conflict, right?
Oh, definitely. Never go to bed mad or shutting them out of the bedroom or whatever. You resolve these things. You talk it through. Sometimes if it's you're really disagreeing and not seeming to find anything, let it go for a little while and then try again to talk it through.
Excellent advice. So give it some time and some space, and then come back to it.
Right.
Revisit it.
Revisit.
Okay, and I remember growing up, you and Dad would take a fall trip without us kids. I'm one of 3 children in the family, the baby. And so what was the purpose of this trip?
Well, the purpose was to renew our relationship, and it was a great building block. I'd write postcards home and say, no one's arguing in the back seat. We could go to dinner and have leisurely dinner and talk about whatever, and we could talk about things other than the children.
Right.
And,
Very healthy practice.
yes, and we'd always call home sometime along the way, see how things were going.
Right.
Yeah.
So how many years, tell our viewers how many years you and Dad were married?
We were in our 62nd year. And I have to say, the longer your marriage lasts, the better it gets. When it came to retirement time, Bob said, well, what will I do if I retire? I said, well, maybe you'd like to play golf. You enjoyed, maybe you'd want to join the country club, because we never did. Church came first, and children first, family first, church and community, and just was our life. And he said, well, if I joined the country club, would you take up golf? And I said, yes, I will. I had never played, and I love it now, but I'm a social golfer. I'm not a great golfer, but it has given us something to do when we traveled and stayed a few days in one place. And we even found the car that worked best, arrangement for the clubs and suitcases. So
Right. Yeah, golf clubs aren't easy to travel with.
That's right. Yeah.
So what else? What else?
Building block. He said, I'll handle the outside, you handle the inside. But when it came to disciplining Rob for mowing the lawn, for instance, Bob fussed at me, and I said, you take care of the outside. If you have a bone to pick with Rob, pick it with Rob,
right,
not with me. And these were just little things that had never occurred to the other one, that you have to, and the same was true. he was a good leveler for me. I tended to overreact to situations with the children, and
Well, you were with us more. So
yes.
Mom stayed home with us. She worked, she was a school teacher until she had children, and then she became a stay-home mom. And she was also very big into philanthropy work and helping my dad run his office and his business. He was a dentist, and so you helped out there a lot too, right?
I did, and I loved that. I knew the patients he was talking about. It was another good building block for the two of us.
That's great.
I could share his work in some ways. I found right away that I was not good at assisting him, and he would show a little impatience if I didn't seem to do it fast enough or right enough or whatever. And so I finally said, look, when I sub, I'll take the desk, and your other girls can be back here with patients with you.
Right, it's good to know your limits. That's good.
That's right.
I think that's important in all marriages.
Yes.
So.
And I loved learning bookkeeping, and you know, he was a stickler, of course, for getting it right every day before we left. It had to balance out and be sure that the records were on the patient record cards and so forth. And so, you know, I learned a lot, and he did too. He even threatened to send me back to dental hygiene school. It was the only thing I couldn't do in the office, really.
That's funny.
But never did. Yeah.
So what, I don't remember you ever having arguments in front of me anyway, growing up. So did you wait to resolve your conflicts when we went to bed, or how did you do that?
Well, Bob, I credited the fact that Bob nor I ever said anything in a heated moment that we would wish we hadn't said or want to take back, harsh words or something. Our disagreements were calmer.
Mm-hmm.
I used to wish that just once he'd get mad because he was slow to anger, which was good. It was good that he was slow to anger. And then he did get mad. Well, that time he didn't speak to me for 3 days.
Oh,
I know. Well, he spoke what was necessary to
bare
get
minimum.
by. Minimum. And it was pretty cold, the cold shoulder. And finally, at the third day, I said, Bob, I get that you're upset with me, but you're going to have to tell me why.
Yeah.
I don't understand what I've done. And it turned out that my sister was visiting with her children, and one night when he came home, we didn't fix a hot meal. Oh, we had something cold, like potato salad or something, to go with whatever leftovers or something. And he was not a leftover man. And by and large, I spoiled Bob.
Yeah.
I catered to his needs, so I didn't that time, and it didn't please him.
Well, so let's talk about that, because I think things have changed so much in today's era, 2024, from the era when you got married. You know, over half of the married couples are divorced, sometimes 2 and 3 times, but things were very different back in the day when grandmother and granddaddy got married and you and dad got married, and so many of your friends are still happily married, where almost all of my children's parents are now divorced, including myself, and
your siblings.
And all of my siblings are divorced too, or in the process. And so would you say that one of the contributing factors now is that a lot of times, A, both parents are working,
Yes.
and B, with the feminist movement and the balance of masculinity and femininity being more askew because of that, that women are not catering to their men like they used to?
They're definitely not catering to their men like they used to.
But I also don't think, the flip side of that is, I don't think men cherish their wives like dad cherished you.
Right. he was typical in some respects. Like I'd come down dressed to go to dinner, and he'd say, "Ooh, where'd you get that?" And I'd say, "From my closet."
And Nordstrom.
Right, but you know, he didn't recognize, and he loved to take me shopping, and he had great taste in clothes. He loved to shop for our children, our girls. He
Yes.
loved his girls and loved to outfit them, especially as I gained weight and Libby didn't.
No, but let's go back to the original question, because I find this fascinating that the divorce rate is so high currently. So there have to be reasons. What do you think the reasons are?
Couples don't work hard enough at pleasing one another. I'd love to give you an example. One I know about, a couple was trying to figure out if they could reconcile or not, and he wanted her to come back and work through some of this. And they had lunch one day and they talked about it. And she, whoever she was, I don't want to mention names,
That's good.
realized that he wanted her to come back the way it was, and he wouldn't have to change.
Oh,
So you
Right.
have to be willing to give and take. Compromise and work together.
right.
Yes. And you're not trying to change a person. You're trying to work with a person.
Right. That's important.
And that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you have to see the give and take both ways.
Right.
Especially a man who doesn't even understand what it is to give and take.
Right.
Yeah.
I think compromise is really important, and appreciation.
Appreciation.
Feeling valued by your significant other. And again, it goes both ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I always saw both you and Dad both appreciating each other very much and
Well-
standing up for each other.
Yes.
I
Backing
remember
each other
because,
up.
you know, if we upset you, knowingly or unknowingly, usually it was unknowingly, Dad would always come say, "Made your mother cry, go apologize." And then we felt terrible because obviously we didn't want to make you cry. But, you know, if we didn't like what you made for dinner or whatever.
Oh, no. It is hard to be mother. I think there's definitely more give on the mother's part, because she is trying to please the children and trying to discipline them as well. And you don't discipline your husband, but he has to be a backup.
Right, and we all have our flaws.
Oh,
so.
definitely. And you allow for those.
Right.
You pick carefully. You pick your important arguments or your important stances.
Right, just like with children, you pick your battles.
You pick your battles.
Right.
Right. Definitely. Works both ways.
Yeah. Good. Well, it's been so nice having you here and having the viewers get to see a little bit more about my family and
Thank you.
hopefully learn the secrets to a long, successful, happy marriage. So,
Well,
thank you, and I
thank
hope you enjoy the rest of the winter here in Palm Springs, and I know I'm going to
I
enjoy the
plan
rest of
to.
my week here. So,
I plan to. Thank you very much.
all right,
Libby.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
So, in case no one else has told you yet today, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you to all who have subscribed, and if you haven't yet, just hit that little button.